The moment nobody saw coming just shattered every expectation in professional wrestling history, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, then you absolutely need to, because what happened at Crown Jewel will blow your mind right now. The ropes exploded with an energy that sent shivers down every single fan's spine when three silhouettes appeared from the darkness, and the crowd erupted into absolute chaos because Roman Reigns had returned alongside his Shield brothers, and they were hunting Seth Rollins with a fury that transcended everything wrestling fans had ever witnessed before. Seth Rollins thought he controlled his own destiny that night at Crown Jewel. He strutted down that ramp with complete confidence, believing he had buried his past and moved beyond the brotherhood that once defined his career. The visionary had reinvented himself multiple times, and he genuinely believed nothing from his former life could touch him anymore. He stepped into that ring as the supreme conqueror, ready to face whatever opponent stood before him. The crowd was divided, some cheering his independent success while others yearned for the old days when three men stood united against the world. Seth soaked in the mixed reaction because he thrived on being controversial and unpredictable in every single way. Then the lights cut to black and the arena descended into complete silence. Not a single soul made a sound because everyone felt something monumental approaching. The music hit like a bomb detonating and the unmistakable theme of the bloodline began playing, but that wasn't the full story. As Roman Reigns stepped through the curtain, the crowd went absolutely insane, but he was not alone. Behind him walked Dean Ambrose, and Seth's old Shield brother appeared ready for war. Then came Brock Lesnar. No, wait, that wasn't right, because the third member emerged, and it was the tactical genius himself, Jon Moxley, fresh from his travels and battles around the world, returning to finish what he started years ago. Seth's face transformed from confidence to shock to absolute terror in seconds flat. The visionary realized that his chickens had come home to roost, and the Shield had reunited specifically to make him pay for everything he had done to them throughout the years. All those betrayals, all those moments when Seth turned on his brothers came flooding back into his memory like a tsunami of consequences ready to destroy everything in its path. He backed into the corner trying to find an escape route, but there was nowhere to run because his former brothers had him trapped with vengeance burning in their eyes. Roman Reigns walked slowly toward the ring with the presence of an absolute emperor who had decided his judgment day had arrived. The tribal chief showed no emotion, just cold determination etched into every feature of his face. Dean Ambrose slid into the ring beneath the ropes with wild anticipation in his eyes, ready to unleash years of pent-up frustration and rage against the man who hurt him most. Jon Moxley stood on the apron, cracking his neck and stretching his shoulders, preparing for the assault that was about to unfold inside that squared circle. Seth tried to mount an offense when Roman entered the ring, but the tribal chief caught him with a brutal spear that sent him crashing to the mat with devastating impact. The visionary tried getting up, but Dean Ambrose was waiting with clotheslines that nearly decapitated him and drove him across the ring like a man possessed by fury. Roman grabbed him and tossed him between the ropes. Jon Moxley caught him on the outside and drove him into the steel steps with authority that echoed through the entire arena, causing fans to jump back in shock at the violence unfolding before their very eyes. Back inside the ring, Roman commandeered the match, and Seth found himself cornered against overwhelming odds that made victory impossible. The tribal chief lifted him up and executed a Superman punch that rattled his brain inside his skull. Seth collapsed to the mat, gasping for air, unable to comprehend how quickly everything had spiraled out of control. He had been so confident, so certain of his superiority, but now he faced three men who had trained with him, fought alongside him, and understood every weakness in his wrestling style. Dean Ambrose took his turn and locked in a submission that twisted Seth's body into positions that seemed to violate the laws of physics itself. The visionary screamed out, but nobody was coming to save him because everyone who cared about him had abandoned him or been driven away by his own arrogance and selfish choices. Roman watched from across the ring with arms crossed, waiting for his turn to continue this reckoning that had been building for so long. Jon Moxley remained on the apron as backup, ready to rush in if needed, but the Shield controlled this moment completely. Seth managed to break free from the submission and rolled to the ropes, trying desperately to catch his breath and formulate some kind of strategy. But the Shield would not grant him mercy or compassion, because this was about justice and retribution for years of betrayal and abandonment. Roman pulled him up and whipped him into the ropes hard. Seth bounced back and received a gore spear that nearly broke him in half and planted him flat on the mat with no air in his lungs. The referee looked ready to stop the match, but Seth refused to quit despite the hopelessness of his situation. Dean Ambrose climbed to the top rope and executed a flying elbow drop that crashed down onto Seth with the force of a meteor striking Earth. The impact shook the entire ring structure, and fans screamed as they witnessed the complete annihilation of the visionary. Jon Moxley finally entered the ring, and the three Shield members surrounded their fallen enemy, standing over him with victory assured and retribution satisfied. Roman raised his arms to the sky as the crowd erupted into thunderous cheers because justice had been served, and the Shield had proven that brotherhood and loyalty always triumph over individual ego and selfish ambition in the end. Seth Rollins lay defeated and broken in the center of that ring as a reminder that sometimes when you betray the people closest to you, those consequences return to haunt you with devastating finality that cannot be escaped or denied. The Shield's reunion shattered every prediction and exceeded every expectation, making this one of the most shocking moments in professional wrestling history that will be discussed and analyzed for years to come. And if you enjoyed this incredible story, then please hit that subscribe button now, because we bring you these amazing wrestling moments every single day.